I'm back. Rodrance for our Black and White Network. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit subscribe. And as always, thank you for watching. Okay, well, Bill Maher's show was last night. Real Time with Bill Maher. I've been very vocal about the fact that I've been a fan for as long as I can remember. The politically incorrect days. Late night ABC many years ago, back in the 90s. And I think he's funny, regardless of what side of the aisle he's on. But Bill Maher has been more and more on the side of common sense the last, probably 18 months or so. And I've been very honest about the fact that Bill Maher waged war against wokeness several years ago. Okay, he thought it was going to be the death of comedy. Judging by what's going on with Chris Rock and Dave Chappelle, he may be right. We don't know. But he doesn't agree with cancel culture. He doesn't agree with wokeness. And I got to be honest with you. I thought he was going to be very, very blue on this subject. Very pro-Democrat. He wasn't. I was shocked. He took a very measured approach here. And he thinks there's a lot of leftist overreaction going on, especially about narratives that are to be drawn beyond the Roe versus Wade leak. Some of the things like, oh my God, they're going to ban interracial marriage. They're going to ban this. They're going to ban that. Bill Maher pretty much thinks that's horseshit. He thinks that's horseshit. He doesn't think that's happening. This is Fox News. Bill Maher pushes back on pro-choice alarmist. We're not going back to 1973 if Roe versus Wade is overturned. Real-time host Bill Maher kicked off his panel discussion about the abortion debate Friday by sharing surprising things he learned following the leak Supreme Court majority opinion draft on Roe versus Wade. I learned some things this week that are pretty basic things that I did not know about the issue. Like in Europe, modern countries of Europe are way more restrictive than we are. Or what they're even proposing, Maher exclaimed. If you are pro-choice, you would like it in a lot less in Germany, Italy, France, Spain, and Switzerland. Did you know that? ? I didn't know that. I learned most people who are pro-life are women. I did not know that. Most abortions are from mothers, people who have a kid. Wow, somebody that already has a child. Interesting. And I thought this was interesting. Most abortions now, even when you go to a clinic, are done with a pill. The pill. And pills are easy to get in America, Maher continued. So you know, for the people who are saying we're going back to 1973, we're not. That's just factually inaccurate. Democratic strategist and CNN contributor Paul Beglia responded by telling Maher, we're not going back to 1973, but we're going back to 1931, citing a Texas law that imprisons doctors who perform abortions under the state's trigger ban if Roe versus Wade is reversed, and how the trigger laws in both the Lone Star State and Michigan have no abortion exceptions. Former NBC reporter Michele Tafoya disagreed with Beglia and pivoted the conversation to how there should be limits to abortion. Quote, there's got to be a point in which we say that human beings capable of living outside the womb where maybe we don't. We don't do that, Tafoya said. I think that's what you see in a lot of in Europe, and a lot of people are kind of settling around. Okay, 15 weeks maybe. Beglia later argued that the rationale in the draft opinion written by Justice Samuel Alito would apply to things like interracial and same-sex marriage, which Tafoya pushed back on, pointing to how Alito states the ruling would specifically apply to abortion because it involves a, quote, third party being an unborn child. Maher then railed against those who say Roe versus Wade is a, quote, a settled law. Quote, this argument is bullshit. Well, it's a settled law. So was segregation. Plessy versus Ferguson was settled law in 1896, and thank God somebody said, let's unsettle it. So that's a bullshit argument. It's what you think, Maher said. If you like babies, then you're pro-life. If you're pro-women, you're pro-choice. The HBO star turned to Biglia about his concerns about overturning Roe versus Wade having a domino effect. Don't stir up fear now. Be honest, Tafoya told Biglia before he responded. Biglia continued to argue that abortion law is classified under the same privacy right as things like marriage and contraception. They too can be in jeopardy. Quote, but Clarence Thomas is in an interracial marriage, Maher pushed back. I guess what I'm saying is I really feel like abortion is unique. It is because you just have this view that it's murder. I could put the argument hat on when people talk about women's rights. Murder isn't right. If you think it's murder, I don't. Again, crazy me. So what Bill Maher's really pushing back against, and this is a big argument right now among the left, a massive argument, that it's going to lead to this domino downhill effect, right? This rolling effect downhill, going to pick up steam, and all of a sudden interracial marriage is going to be gone. Even though Judge Clarence Thomas is in an interracial marriage. Okay? They specifically say in this opinion draft, and again, we're talking about all this based on an opinion draft, but in that opinion draft, they specifically say this is not to be assumed or applied to any other laws whatsoever. That is in there. Leftists have just completely ignored it. I mean, hell, they're outside judges' houses now. Which, by the way, it is utterly repugnant that the White House has not only condemned, but, I mean, slammed anybody out there protesting in front of those judges' homes. I mean, that is, you want to talk about all these threat to democracies that the Democrats keep pulling out of their ass over that one day back in January. Well, what do you think this is, for crying out loud? I mean, Supreme Court home, judges' homes, absolutely repugnant. Once again, I don't agree with everything Bill Maher says here, but it's a more measured, common sense approach where he's taking a step back and going, no, we're not going back to 1973, whether that's the narrative you want to push or not. Factually incorrect is the words he used, and then he pushed back against things like interracial marriage is just going to be banned. I mean, it's utterly dog shit. Man, some of the narratives, legacy media's got a lot to do with this, but the woke Twitter mob, by the way, and yeah, they still exist, even though Elon bought it, and that's the point. Now there's one on each side, but the woke Twitter mob, of course, they got the pitchforks out this morning for Bill Maher. Democrats have got the pitchforks out for Bill Maher again. Wow. It's amazing how fast you turned on him. Record speed. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.